Good afternoon, everybody. This is AKwx with the National Weather Service with Alaska statewide weather for July 16, 2020. We have a couple options for you to help you further refine your search if you don't see or hear what you're looking for in this broadcast. A 1-800 number that'll take you through a menu system, again, to help you get to your area of concern. Also, there's a webpage, weather.gov/Alaska. If you take off Alaska and would like to, again, further refine your search, you can put in Anchorage, Juneau, or Fairbanks as an option. Lastly, we do have an email there listed. If you have any questions or comments about the TV program or weather service in general, please don't hesitate to contact us. We continue to have no watch warnings or advisories out for the state, but please, before you head out, please check that map before you venture outside. Fire danger for July 16th. We're continuing to watch drying conditions in the upper Yukon. I hesitated to also add an area up there in the northwest area of the state. It just didn't seem like it was drying out, but didn't seem to be as big a concern at this point. So that's all we have right now. For the lightning data for yesterday, 170 strikes. Continues to be on the low side. Both of those clustered in the Talkeetna Mountains there and in the eastern Alaska range. Precipitation estimates for July 16th. All the precipitation was concentrated down in the Panhandle, with about almost 2 inches reported and possible in the southern coastal mountains and southern end of the Panhandle. Otherwise, scattered areas of 1/10 to 1/4 inch around the mainland and down through the Alaska Peninsula. For the satellite map, you can see that low pressure system that is the main focus of the weather there in the central Aleutians. And then you can also see some developments across the interior as well as thunderstorms again pick up this afternoon. And a weakening low pressure system there near Kotzebue in the northwest part of the state, and approaching cloud deck into the Gulf region, but otherwise continued pretty nice conditions across much of the mainland with afternoon developments across the interior. What's this look like on today's weather map? There's the 9988 millibar low with fog and rainfall associated with that system reported in the central Aleutians, and light rain also with a shortwave trough out ahead of that system across the Alaska Peninsula. Thermal troughs across the interior, 1007 millibars there, and again rain showers and thunderstorm activity developing this afternoon. We also have a ridge of high pressure, 10-15 millibars in the central Bering with fog reported along the west coast and into the central Bering. Very improving conditions across the Panhandle with thunderstorms and rain showers as you move further into Canada. Tonight's weather, that low near the Aleutians, now 1003 millibar low with fog and light rainfall. Fog also associated with the ridge of high pressure in the southern Bering and into the central Bering, but also reports of the likelihood of fog along the Arctic coast remains, with mixed precipitation also along the Arctic coast there with snow showers and maybe even a few rain showers there. Still cold enough up in that region, but otherwise thermal activity dies down overnight with lingering showers across the interior and weakening low in the northern Gulf, spreading light rain into the Gulf region. For Friday's weather, looking at, again, afternoon developments with thunderstorm activity, thermal lows across the southwest and into the interior, down into Yukon territory, with a trough moving into the Gulf region, spreading light rain across the northern Gulf and into the coastal mountains of the Panhandle, and then fog and rain in the Alaska Peninsula with another low pressure system, now 1007 millibars there. Ridge of high pressure in the western Aleutians, 1017 millibars there. For Saturday's weather, broken record here. We're going to continue with some thunderstorm activity across the interior with thermal trough extending into Canada and that weakening low 1,013 millibars near the Panhandle, spreading light rain across that region. We will look for a warm front approaching the central Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, again for Saturday, and the ridge of high pressure continues out into the Bering, 1,016 millibars there with fog, extensive fog through the Bering down through the central and western Aleutians. Low temperatures for Thursday morning, again 30s across much of the North Slope, Kaktovik 34, Utqiagvik 31, Point Hope 47, Arctic Village 47, Adigan Pass 40, 54 in Fort Yukon, 47 in Eagle, 52 in Fairbanks, 50 in Tanana, 52 in Galena, and then 50s through much of the southwest with Bethel 52, 50s and 40s through the Alaska Peninsula with Shimmy at 45, St. Paul 47, Savunga 43, Kodiak 52, Yakutat 47, 49 in Haines, State Capital Juneau 49, and 54 in Ketchikan. High temperatures for Thursday afternoon. High temperatures across the North Slope looking to be in the upper 30s to low 40s with 41 in Dead Horse, 38 in Kaktovik, 36 in Utqiagvik, Point Hope 52, 56 in Arctic Village, 67 in Fort Yukon, 67 in Bettles, 70 in Eagle, 67 in Fairbanks, 65 in Tanana, 63 in Galena, 60s maybe in 7 there in Bethel, with 72 in King Salmon, 70 in Dillingham, and then 50s down through the Alaska Peninsula, and even a 49 there at Shemya, but Cold Bay 59, 56 in Dutch Harbor, St. Paul 56, Savunga 49, 63 in Kodiak, 70 in Seward, Yakutat 61, 65 in Haines, 63 in Ketchikan, and Valdez coming in at 67. For low temperatures Friday morning, back down to the 30s for the North Slope with Kaktovik 34, Utqiagvik 31, 40 in Point Hope, Arctic Village 45, Adigan Pass 38, 52 in Fort Yukon, 49 in Eagle, and then 52 in Fairbanks, 52 in Tanana, 52 in Galena, and then 52 in McGrath, 52 in Aniak, 52 in Bethel, 52 in King Salmon, 52 in Dillingham, 50s and mid 40s down through the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians with 49 in Cold Bay, 50 in Dutch Harbor, 45 in Shemya, 45 in St. Paul, Savunga 43, 54 in Kodiak, 52 in Seward, 49 in Yakutat, 54 in Haines, 50 in Juneau, and 54 in Ketchikan. Lastly, for Friday afternoon, looking at 38 in Kaktovik, 43 in Dead Horse, 38 in Utqiagvik, 68 in Fort Yukon, 67 in Eagle, 70 in Northway, 65 in Fairbanks, 67 in Tanana, 68 in Galena, and 67 in McGrath, 67 in Aniak, 67 in Bethel as well, and then King Salmon 67, 67 in Dillingham, and then Dutch Harbor 56, Cold Bay 59, and 49 in Shemya, Cordova 58, 58 in Yakutat as well, 59 in Haines, and 61 in Ketchikan, and for the state capital, 58 in Juneau, Seward 63, and 67 in Anchorage.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Let's take a look at the flying weather for Friday morning. IFR conditions along the Arctic coast and out through much of the Bering and Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, and into portions of the Gulf with marginal conditions in the Panhandle. That improves by Friday afternoon, especially along the Arctic coast with marginal conditions now in the North Slope area. Nice flying weather conditions across the west coast. You will have to watch for afternoon thunderstorms across the interior, but otherwise IFR conditions through the eastern Bering down through the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, and marginal conditions in the Alaska Range, and much improved conditions in the Panhandle with IFR conditions there in the Gulf. And for Saturday morning, a continued onshore flow. Marine stratus comes back across the North Slope, but otherwise IFR conditions down through much of the southern Bering and marginal conditions through much of south central and into the southwest, with IFR conditions showing up again across the Panhandle and into the Gulf. And again for Saturday afternoon, watch for afternoon thunderstorms across the interior, but otherwise marginal conditions showing up with an approaching system in the Gulf, spreading northward through the Alaska Range and into portions of the interior. Otherwise, IFR conditions under a ridge of high pressure that forms across the Bering and into the Aleutians, and marginal conditions showing up there in Alaska Peninsula, and IFR conditions again across the Panhandle. For past conditions, Anaktuvik, I went for VFR conditions there. Adigan, VFR as well, but maybe a little bit of cloud cover, so watch that again with that North Slope marine stratus that shows up in the North Slope, especially in the north entrance. And marginal conditions, Lake Park and Merrill with afternoon thunderstorms, rainy thunderstorms again, marginal conditions there. Windy, went for thunderstorms possible in the mountainous areas, marginal conditions with IFR in the south entrance during the morning hours especially. And Isabel, marginal conditions with afternoon thunderstorms. Mentasta, VFR conditions there. Tanita, VFR. Portage, marginal to improving, not improving, but becoming IFR with VFR conditions as you get into the western entrance. Choku, marginal conditions, but improving to VFR conditions for Friday. Freezing levels, 8,000 foot freezing level across the mainland and skirts across the west coast, northwest coast. Surface showing up there just along the Arctic coast, but otherwise 10,000 foot freezing level. Cuts across the Gulf and into the Aleutians and over into the Bering Sea. Friday, icing, no icing below 10,000 feet, so if any flying conditions flying below 10,000 feet should be okay in that respect. For the jet stream, 105 knots around the low pressure system there in the Aleutians, 120 knots there just south of Kamchatka Peninsula, but 95 these are all miles per hour. 95 miles per hour as you come into the Gulf, 100 miles per hour as you cut across the southern Panhandle, 60s across the mainland, and around another low pressure there across the North Slope. For 9,000 foot winds for Friday, again, a couple low pressure systems, 20 to 10 miles per hour around that low pressure system, counterclockwise flow in the eastern Aleutians, but otherwise 5 to 10 across the mainland in southerly flow, weak southerly flow across much of the mainland. And then you have to go into the Gulf to find 60 to 70 mile per hour winds there. For 3,000 foot winds, again, low pressure systems, around the low pressure system in the Aleutians, 15 to 20 miles per hour there. Low in the near Kodiak Island, 10 to 5 as you come into the mainland, but otherwise light and variable across the mainland. Turbulence, no turbulence forecast for Friday, but there might be a chance of some isolated moderate but I left it out. There might be a slight chance for the central and western Aleutian.
You're in for a show this week, Star Nerds. I'm Trace, and this week both Jupiter and Saturn will be in opposition. Opposition is astronomy speak for the Earth passing directly between an outer planet and the Sun. Put another way, if you drew a line from Jupiter to the Sun, we would fall right in the middle. Planets in opposition are at their closest to us and their brightest. To find Jupiter, look south around 11 p.m. this week and you will see two bright spots. The brighter is Jupiter. At opposition, it will be 641 million kilometers away and as bright as can be. If you've got strong binoculars, you'll get quite the show. Saturn will be bright too, but doesn't officially reach opposition until July 20th. Even looking at our largest planets with the smallest telescope will blow you away. Keep looking up.
Ever been to the beach and noticed litter like plastic bottles or foam takeout containers on the sand? Or maybe you've been to a river or bay where there's a bag or a car tire stuck in the mud on the shore, or a bunch of deflated balloons that say happy birthday floating in the water? All of that junk in the water or on the shoreline is considered marine debris. It's anything solid and man-made in the ocean or Great Lakes that is not supposed to be there. And anything people use every day can become marine debris if they don't dispose of it properly. And I mean anything. The most common items we find when we do shoreline cleanups are plastics. But we also find rubber, cloth, glass, metal, and paper litter. Sometimes the debris is so tiny, like a plastic microbead from your face wash, that you can barely see it in the water. Marine debris is more than just trash in the ocean. Sometimes fishers lose their gear like fishing traps, nets, or fishing line, and it continues to drift through the water, catching animals for a long time. We call that derelict fishing gear, and it's marine debris. Have you ever seen an old boat left behind on a shoreline? Abandoned and derelict vessels are also marine debris. So let's review. Anything we use every day can become marine debris if we don't dispose of it properly or if it goes into the water by accident. Marine debris can be very small or can be very big, and anything in between. But most importantly, marine debris is one of the biggest pollution problems facing the world's oceans and waterways today.
How does marine debris impact the ocean, animals, and me? Would you want to swim in a beach littered with trash? Of course not. And the animals who live in the ocean don't either. The difference is, they don't have a choice. Marine species often get tangled in debris, from fishing nets to six-pack rings. If they get caught, they could get injured or even die. And even if they don't get entangled, many animals mistake plastic debris for food and eat it. This fills their stomach with junk they can't digest. Debris can also damage important habitats, like coral reefs, by breaking or smothering them. Corals serve as the base of the marine ecosystem, and impacts here can be felt all the way to you and me. Plus, plastics have harmful chemicals in them. Fish eat plastic, we eat fish. The question is, can those chemicals harm us? Marine debris also hurts the economy. It costs a lot of money to clean up, and people don't want to go to dirty beaches. Boats and ships could run into large pieces of debris too, or get their propellers tangled. We need the ocean and everything in it, and the ocean needs us to keep it free of debris. What can we do about marine debris?
A lot of the trash that's in our ocean is plastic.
And that marine debris is hurting our environment, economy, economy and health.
The problem will only get worse.
Unless we change the way we consume and dispose of products. There are solutions,
And together, we can prevent litter from ending up in the ocean. Some people might say,
well, I'm just one person, so I can't make a difference.
but that's just not true.
If each person who creates trash, and that's just about everyone, took action, it would add up to a whole lot of change.
So what can we do?
Well, the ultimate solution is prevention. And we need to keep that as our highest priority.
We can reduce, reuse, and recycle to keep debris out of the ocean in the first place.
You can bring your own shopping bag, drink out of a reusable bottle, and participate in things like a shoreline cleanup.
Join a group cleaning up the beach or grab some friends and clean up your street. It's easy.
Be more conscious of how many disposable plastic items you're using. And if you do,
Where are you putting it? In the trash can? Whoops. Or in the recycling bin?
so here's the challenge. The next time you finish using a throwaway item, a bag, a bottle, or utensil, answer the question, where is this going? Because ultimately, when you throw stuff away, there really is no away. It has to go somewhere.
So keep asking yourself this important question.
How will you keep your trash from becoming marine debris?
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the sea ice analysis for today, we have lower concentrations of ice there along the Arctic coast in the Beaufort Sea, and that extends over to UAFTV, but otherwise the Chukchi Sea is pretty much open in Alaska waters. There is a shallow shoal there that's hanging up with lower concentrations of ice around that area, but otherwise pretty open down through the Bering Strait. For Friday's marine forecast for southeast, inside waters generally from the south at 10 to 15, seas as high as 3 feet in Lynn Canal. Outside waters, winds generally from the south or southwest at 10 to 15, seas as high as 5 feet. Along the North Gulf, winds generally from the southeast at 20, seas as high as 5 feet. And for Saturday's forecast, inside waters, winds generally from the south at 15, seas as high as 3 feet. Outside waters, winds generally from the south or southwest, 15 knots with seas as high as 8 feet. And along the North Gulf there, winds generally from the east at 20 with seas as high as 8 foot. For Friday, South Central, Prince William Sound, generally from the east at 10, seas as high as 2 feet. In the Gulf area, winds generally from the east at 20, seas as high as 6 feet. And in the Cook Inlet region, variable winds, seas as high as 5 feet in the Kamishak Bay area. For South Central on Saturday, Prince William Sound, winds generally from the northeast at 10, seas as high as 2 feet. Gulf area, winds generally 15 to 20 with seas as high as 6 feet. And we do have a small craft advisory out for Barren Islands East for today and Friday. And also in the Cook Inlet region, small craft advisory for tonight. And but otherwise, on Saturday's forecast, winds generally from a variable direction at 10, seas as high as 3 feet. For marine forecast, Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, around Kodiak Island, actually all of the winds around the region from the north at 10, seas as high as 6 feet on the south side of the peninsula. And much the same story for Saturday, winds generally from the north at 10, with seas as high as 6 feet on the south side of the peninsula. Loosen chain for Friday, winds generally from the north at 15, seas as high as 6 feet. And for Saturday, continued northerly, 10 to 15, seas as high as 6 feet. They're just south of Unalaska. I did want to note that small craft advisory is out through tonight for Cape Shishra to Nikolsky, Pacific side. And that continues down pretty much for the eastern Aleutians, again for today and through tonight. For West Coast, winds generally from the north at 10 to 15, seas as high as 3 feet. In Norton Sound, winds generally from the north at 10, seas high as 2 feet. And for Saturday, winds continue out of the north 10 to 20 with seas as high as 4 feet near St. Lawrence Island. And in Norton Sound, winds generally from the northeast at 15, seas high as 3. Arctic coast for Friday, winds along the Arctic coast, winds generally from the northeast or east 15, seas as high as 3 feet in the open water areas. Otherwise, down through the Chukchi Sea, winds generally from the northeast at 25, seas as high as 6 feet. And down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from the north 15 to 20. And for Saturday, again along the Arctic coast there, winds generally from the northeast 10 to 15. And then down through the the Chukchi Sea, winds generally from the northeast 25 to 30, seas as high as 8 feet. And down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from the north at 20, seas as high as 7 feet on the north side of the Bering Strait. And for tonight's forecast, couple low pressure systems with weak trough out ahead of those systems, fog and light rain along the eastern Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula, otherwise fog down through the southern Bering and along the west coast and even along the Arctic coast, otherwise thermal troughs across the interior, lingering rain showers across the southwest and into south central. And for Friday's weather, 1017 millibar high in the Bering, western Aleutians with fog out across the Aleutians into the west coast, and again lingering rain showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, allowing thermal lows 1006 millibars there, and weak trough approaching the North Gulf Coast, spreading rain showers along the region.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.